Welcome back to the Integrate This EdTech podcast. I'm your co-host, Jeremy Mikla. Along with me, as always, is my partner in crime, David Berner, and we are excited today. We are going to be revisiting some of our favorite tools that we have used, both of us, over the last year and a half or so, and we've done episodes on all of these different tools in that time period as well. And but what often happens with ed tech tools is that they keep making improvements and updates, and so it kind of is nice to come back and take a look at the tools that we've played with in the past and find out what has been updated, what has kind of become the new shiny flashing objects that teachers should really be made aware of and want to start using with their students in their classrooms. And so David and I are going to kind of tag team some of these different tools. David's going to start here taking a look at Magic School. And there's some really great things with Magic School that have been updated. And I know he's kind of excited to share some of those improvements and advances. And I'm going to follow up with SchoolAI, which I've played around with quite a bit recently, and I really like some of the abilities that you're able to do in the customization of those tools as well. And then I think in our next episode, David, I think we'll split this into two, right? We'll take a look at a couple of other tools that will be on tap, Brisk and Diffit, and we'll talk more about those in our next episode. But David, I know you're ready to jump in here and start sharing what you have for us about Magic School.
Yep. So it's actually been over a year since we did our tutorials on Magic School when it first came out, and we had all those all the hype around it and everything, and
It's kind of the first big one, right, to come on the scene in the ed tech world.
Yeah, and I continuously, whenever I've got meetings with, administrators or people at school districts, it's one of those tools where they've done a lot of work in getting the tools available to teachers, and then also ensuring that students can access them as well, which is part of what we'll go over today with some of the update stuff. But what I want to cover first of all is they're continuously pushing out new tools, both for the teachers and for students. So I'm going to cover a bit of that and some of the newer cards that are available. Really, I think that one of the nice things is regardless of the fact that they're adding all these different tools to it in their Magic Tools section, the layout is familiar no matter what you go to, right? So you've got, like, it's a guided process always. It always, whatever you've got to input into it is always going to fit the tool itself. So we'll look at some of that. And then some of the stuff that they're doing with the launch to students rooms and the tools that are available there. And then some of the stuff that they're doing with student AI literacy and data privacy as well, which is a big piece because and I think that's a determining factor too now with a lot of schools where, we want to use these tools, but we have to ensure that they're meeting, FERPA or COPA or those are things that we actually have to take into account. And a lot of times we as tech integrationists are very hesitant to recommend tools to teachers if they're not doing that at this point. So we'll talk about that as well. But just to start out, so as I mentioned, when they first came out, it was estimated that they had somewhere between, 50 and 60 tools or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. And so I actually went through and I counted how many they've got available now for the Magic tools that are available to teachers in this section. And there's 86 tools now. So, you can click on whichever ones are going to make sense for you. I feel like they've reached a really broad range of things that are available for anybody at the school district that you might be working at or with. And so there's no lack of tools here. with Magic School. So some of the newer ones that I would just want to point out are going to be things like we've got like our 504 plan generator. This is one where you can generate a draft of a 504 plan. Um, I think one thing that's also nice is that with any of these, if you're not really sure where to start, using this exemplar, which we have showcased in the past with our previous tutorials, you can look at some what does this tool do exactly? What does it offer you? Um, and I've had a lot of conversations, it seems like lately, around special education. I just met with some sped directors recently, and they wanted to know, what are all the tools that are out there with AI that can enhance both, their work life, or the things that they've got to do with their professional tasks, and what can teachers that they work with use as well. And so the 504 plan draft is nice. You kind of add that into what had been there, which was like the accommodations and modifications tools that are available and have been for a while now in Magic School. But that 504 behavior plan is nice. You can get a template to start working from, and then use that continuously. So that's really nice. There's also the 5E model lesson plan.
Hey, I noticed you're using that search toolbar up at the top. I would imagine with 86 different tools,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
that's going to be pretty important rather than the play hide and seek with the cards in the big list.
Yeah, yep. And you can, so one thing that's nice is we've mentioned this in our previous video, and this has been a feature that's been around for a while. I could also do this where, like that 504 plan generator, if I want to use that a lot, just favorite that, right? And that will be up at the top now. So something that you're continuously coming back to. Otherwise, yeah, the search works great. Like for this, I'm searching out the 5E model lesson plan. This is actually really cool because this will basically make like science lesson plans, and there's you can put in like your, obviously your grade level, your objective. There's some additional customization stuff here. So if you want to be specific about including hands-on activities or group work or anything like that, that's where you can put that in. And then you can also put in your standards, attach things if as needed. But let's just look at an exemplar of this. I have done this a couple times. What I like about this is that it follows a process, and you see that process here. There's 5 areas that they try to include in this. So that's your 5 E's. That's why it's called that. So you have engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate. Those are all core pieces to this whenever you make one of these. And it does break down for you, what does that mean, right? So then when you actually get into it, you've got your aligned standards, and then following that, you have your hands-on activities, which are going to be specific to this particular lesson. One thing that I really love about this is that you've got your lesson plan here. So exploring the musculoskeletal system, and then each following piece of this lesson, I like how they actually put in some of the prompting that occurs that Magic School does to build this out. So in this purple sections, you're going to see like in what are some things that you could actually do, because these are pieces of the exemplar. So what happened when the exemplar was clicked and I generated it, these were the prompt pieces that happened in order to produce each individual part. So like here, what are some examples of hands-on activities for simulating the functions of muscles, tendons, ligaments, and bones? That was what was prompted to produce these. So something to just keep in mind is if you're going to be doing this on your own, putting your own information in there, you could put all your different prompts in there to generate whatever you would like, right? And then, you can always edit it and things like that. But this is fully fleshed out. You've got your different pieces for hands-on activities, This one covers real world applications. You've got like an actual example here of what they're supposed to do for an idea. This one is in regard to pre-nursery students. And then it's got like a actual breakdown of the what they're supposed to accomplish here. So your instructions writing should be legible. Don't leave any questions without attempting. Don't write anything on a question paper. And then this is a whole activity for them to do. So I think what I want to get across with this 5E piece here is that it's very extensive. There's a lot to it. And then you can still edit it and do whatever you want to do there, right? So play around with the exemplar with this. Figure out what works for you. But the best feature I think about this is that you can use the 5E lesson plan to get a really comprehensive lesson plan to use with students. A couple other ones that are worth touching on is you've got the sentence starters ones. So, and this one would be good for working with students as well. But this is for teachers. They can provide sentence starters on any topics, assignment, standard, or objective. This one's going to be a little bit more simplified than our 5E model lesson plan, but sentence starters are really nice to get students thinking in a certain direction about whatever topic, assignment, standard you're on. And then another one, which is I think probably widely used, is the email responder. Let me see if I can. Right here. Okay, so I needed a dash. Email responder is nice, really, for whatever context you need it for. So if if this is like a email home to a parent, or if it's to your administrator, or if it's to your staff, whatever it happens to be for, given your your position or what task you've got in front of you. I like how you can put in your name, email you're responding to, which is interesting. So let's say we are doing the parent one, right? And you have a parent that's not exactly happy about something. It's interesting that you can put in the email that you got. So if Jeremy emails me and says he's mad because our video isn't up on time, that I didn't get it on YouTube, then we could I could put that in there, and then I could use it as a way to respond in a very kind way and say I'm working on it, and give me some time or whatever. So
You're such a professional.
yeah,
That's amazing. Yeah.
right. So yep. So you could put that in here, and I think some people have actually expressed to me before how they like things like this because they maybe just don't know how to respond to email in the best way, or sometimes emotions get involved, and so you've got that going on, and you can respond in an effective way. But okay, so that would be some of the ones that are newer from our last video. I think one thing to point out too for everybody is that you can sort by newest, which I think is nice because it does tag certain added ones in here that are new. So because of the fact that, like I said at the beginning, stuff continuously has been getting added, it's nice to, if you every time you come back, maybe just do that, sort by new, or you can click this new tag, and it'll grab those that are tagged with that. So those are all really good. Now, in terms of the student tools, there's a bunch that have been added as well. So you've got, here's what we'll kind of look at. You can launch the room to the students as we've done before. So if you want to click launch a new room in this area, here's where we would actually add the tools. So a couple that have come out that are worth mentioning is, one of them is going to be writing feedback. So if you want to give this to students to be able to write, put in their something that they've written up and then get feedback on it. It's a good way to do it with some of their rough draft things that they've been working on. Another one is going to be SAT prep. So you can, do like a practice SAT reading test. That's a good one as well. And then another one for students would be the research assistant. So find information and sources to a research project. So if we go back and we do, I'll have to cut this part out. It doesn't let me, how come I can't look at it when I launch? Am I missing something?
Are you trying to see it from the student view?
Yeah. Do I have to click next? Maybe I do. I can't remember. There we go.
I think you got it.
Yeah. Do you think I need to cover this part, or should I just cut it off there at what I said about the tools?
I mean, you could show them, like once you launch it to the student, they're going to have this spaced plan or something.
Sure. Okay. So once you do have the, whatever one you want to launch in there to students, again, this is one of the newer ones like the SAT ELA practice test. You can put it in the tools to launch section. So you just add whatever ones you want. Again, you could do like the research assistant. We'll grab that and throw that in here as well. And then you hit next, and then you can launch the room as is. You can also customize these. So if there's something you want to change about this and what that looks like, you can put in your different name, description, and then we can take a look at what this might look like for the student before actually launching it out. And then you can determine, like, do you want to remove certain tools or make more available? Just really depends. But this would be an example of one of the newer tools, which is the SAT preparation. So you can see there, it's just producing it. You can still edit things, determine how you want to push that out to students, add additional comments or, changes to it, ask the chat bot here for changes. But this is what it would look like, and then you can launch that to students. And then the last thing that I think is important to point out that Magic School is focusing on is ethical AI use. So, and like I said at the beginning, we are constantly trying to make sure that there's compliance with data privacy. There's a student AI literacy section that is worth pointing out. You can take a look at that, and it'll bring you to the AI literacy, what Magic School is doing for students. So one of the things is, you can see here, their 93% privacy rating. They're meeting the COPA, FERPA, and AICPA guidelines. So this is something that you can kind of look over. There's some resources here that you can use from Magic School to help continue to train students on AI literacy. But this is one of the things that is extremely important, I know, for us as an organization, because it takes away that concern of, can we recommend this to teachers to be using with their students? And that's always the question with any of the tools that we're pushing out. And so that allows us to do that, which is very nice. So those are some of the updates with Magic School AI. And so Jeremy's going to now take us into School AI and see what's going on with that stuff.
Hey, that was great. A lot of cool features for teachers to be able to explore and use. And I think some exciting opportunities to help build that AI literacy that you were talking about. which is also a really important thing, you know. Boy, there's more and more stories coming out all of the time about advancements that are being made in AI, and even some bold predictions maybe by the end of 2025 that we have this thing called AGI, where the computers start to rival and surpass human intelligence, which would be a revolutionary thing to happen too. So being able for, I think, teachers and students to be able to use AI tools as an assistant is going to be incredibly important. And along with that comes that ethical and responsible use. So I'm glad to see that these tools are definitely recognizing that and making it part of the integrated features that they offer. All right. Okay, let's cut out a part. I really want to drink a coffee.
Okay.
So
Sounds good.
all right.
So probably after years, and I could almost do an outro and we could end it and then start a new one, huh? You think at this point?
I think so. And I might have to end it here as soon as we're done with this one for today, at least for this morning, because I've got a thing at 10.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We'll go to town.
Okay. And then if we need to record another one, we can do that.
I think we can do that Friday too. Next Friday would be fine.
Yeah. Or I don't know, this Friday, does that work?
This Friday I gotta go to Hills. I could try to do it if it's like,
if it doesn't, no biggie.
Yeah, let me get back to you on that. I could try to fit it in the morning. It's just like it's like an hour and 40-minute drive, and then I got to meet with those teachers and stuff. So,
gotcha. All right. So the other updates we want to explore today are going to be on SchoolAI. So one of the things that when you are getting into SchoolAI, it looks very similar to what it did. Like, again, the last time that we dug deep into this tool is probably about a year ago as well. And it looks very much similar. They haven't changed up the style of the layout of their page very much. They've moved a few things around and added this new community part, where if you go into community and you belong to SchoolAI, it will bring you to a place where you can find a space to be able to share what you're doing with other educators, as well as to learn from other educators as well in some of the discussion forums that are there. There's also places where you can go into what they're calling their base camp, where you can go in and you can take different webinars, or you could begin a certification within their program, things that they've had before, and little kind of like online courses that you can take in SchoolAI. Basically, what SchoolAI is trying to say is that they want their users to become efficient with the types of tools and the products that they have within there. And so it offers some great support community things as well within there, places to ask questions and to get feedback. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can definitely explore using that community area within SchoolAI. And you can even say it says it's new, right? And other things here that I want to share and point out are going to be the addition of one of the assistants that are part of the cards that are there. The assistants here are really designed to be teacher tools, and most of these are the same as what they were about a year ago, but there's one important addition that they've added. They've added a card here called Space Designer. So I've really kind of, one of the things that I've liked using AI tools for is to making my own chatbots that I can then deploy for specific purposes. We've done some of those in different episodes that we've had. If you remember our holiday episode that we did, I had one in there that was Santa AI, where Santa is trying to modernize his gift giving campaign. And I built that in SchoolAI using the space designer tool that is in here. And you open this up, and this is kind of like, remember, this is a teacher thing. You just say, I got this idea. I want Santa to modernize this gift giving campaign. And you put that in, and it helps you then design that space. So I'm just going to jump to the history of the chat that I had with that so that you could see what it is. And so I just typed in, I want it to be called Santa AI, and I want students to interact. And, then it kind of spits back to me like, okay, here's the steps that you need to go through here then to create this chatbot tool that you can then launch and deploy to students. So basically, it gave me these different steps that are part of here. And basically, after, tweaking it a little bit here and there, because you've got to play with AI a little bit to, get it to do exactly what you want the way that you want it to. Like that first prompt isn't always going to be enough. So we engaged in some of the conversations for it and that sort of thing. So then I said, create the prompt for me that I'm going to use when I go into the tools to develop this space that I'm going to send out to students. And so it did. And so what then I was able to do is I was able to go into the tools part, or I'm sorry, into the spaces part. And I went to create and manage my own space. Remember, the space is going to be that area that your students are going to go to, and you're going to allow students to be able to use the AI tools. Again, in that very safe, structured, secure and private spot where they can begin to practice with AI, right? Which is part of that whole AI literacy campaign. And so what I was able to do then, if I go into the edit space, you're going to see I copied and pasted from that space builder tool in the assistants and then put it into here. I had it finished generating these different fields, which gave it a cover image, as well as descriptions for anyone that is going to search for it publicly, what it's going to do, as well as then for the students. And then you're, of course, allowed to preview it before you then would launch this space to students. And this isn't a new thing here either, but if this was the space that I wanted, I could save and launch it. And of course, I could add it to a Google Classroom as an assignment if that were my LMS, or using the QR code, which also comes with a link. And so either having students, if they are on a tablet of some sort and they want to scan that QR code, that would then take them to a place. They would have to enter in a name, but it could be just a nickname, or it could be their real name, maybe just their first name, last initial, something that the teacher could identify who they are. Or they could go in, if they were, say, on a Chromebook and you just wanted to copy the link and paste that into your LMS, then again, they could access these tools without having to formally log in and to give their email or other credential. But as long as the teacher knew who they were, the teacher can admit them or boot them out if they aren't someone in that class that's trying to use it in a way that they don't want them to. So I think that's a really cool new feature that's been added, is the space designer, which really then allows teachers to kind of use their own ideas and creativities, because and you know what, they know their students best, and they know what's going to work in their classes best, because they're the practitioner, they're the human intelligence in that room, which is going to be so much more important than just you relying on AI the way that it is. The next thing here that I want to point out within these different tools, and again, there aren't as many as they are, say, in Magic School, but I think many of them can do multiple different things. Maybe they're not as specific, get drilled down to one thing like you would find in Magic School. But one of the things that I wanted to point out here are that there are special ed ones like David showed the 504 builder. While this one doesn't specifically have a 504 one, there are definitely ones for IEPs and IEP goals. that could definitely be used to help generate some of those things as well. Okay, I'm just going to go back here then to this Launchpad and point out a couple of other new things. If I go into spaces and discover. Here's an area where we have seen just a lot of growth is, wow, that's gone up. The last time I think I looked at this, they weren't at 100,000 different spaces that have been created by teachers for teachers. So you could see that there's literally over 100,000 spaces that if you don't want to start at ground zero, if you have an idea for something that you would like to do and want to see if someone else has already created something that you just might be able to take as is or to take and then customize, is a great way to do that. I recently participated in a career exploration for students. And so I'm like, well, I want to show off some AI. And I'm like, let kids interact a little bit with AI and their career explorations. And it did happen to be eighth graders. And so I was able to kind of look through here, find, hey, an eighth grade college and career exploration space that already exists. And then just to see what it's about. And if I want to, I can totally remix it. I can go through and I can give it more instructions, more details, and I can edit it the way that I want it if it's going to be specific to the students that I'm going to be working with. So just another great space to go to is this Discover area. But the other place that the other item I wanted to show you with this as well is that there's also this now search by standard button here. So if you have a particular standard that you would like, and maybe don't remember if Minnesota was in here. There they are. I can go and choose Minnesota. I can choose a grade level, and I can choose even a subject area that I'm working with, and even drill down to particular strands of things that I want. And then, it comes with them all selected, but you can also deselect them, show the results, and it's going to try to match spaces for me that have already been created by others that I can now take and adapt and make my own to be able to use. So I think just, boy, another great thing that has been added that wasn't there a year ago, right? And I think, we've just seen so many advances in AI in general, but I really do think that SchoolAI, as well as Magic School, have really done a good job of keeping up with the changes that have been made and making things more efficient, making things more practical, and even better for teachers to be able to use. So again, give these updates, give these different things a chance. If you haven't tried them in your classroom, I think just experimenting and playing around with it a little bit is going to help teach you a lot about what it can and cannot do. So again, great things. And, I would expect maybe, David, in another year or so, we might have to be doing another update about Magic School and about SchoolAI and all of the different possibilities that are there.
Yeah, or maybe even sooner the way things go, it's like,
Yeah, right.
so yeah. And on that note too, I would encourage everybody to just continuously, especially with these AI tools, and if you're more so if you're using them, always be checking like what's new, what's the update releases, so that you can kind of see, is there anything that would benefit you there from the tool. Especially if your district is paying for it and you have access to it, use that to your advantage and take advantage of the things that come out. And
definitely. And if that's not available for you to do, based on, sometimes the staffings in your districts and the size of the schools that you have, but if you are looking for someone to do some of that research for you too, and if David and I can help you out in any way, I mean, that's kind of one of the things that I think both of us like to do with our jobs, is to find ways to help make that learning better for students and that instruction process better for teachers. And we'll definitely help with any suggestions, comments, or maybe we need to do a little learning ourselves before we can answer some of those, but we're happy to do those things. So shoot us a comment, shoot us a question, and we're glad to help.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And so that kind of does it for our updates on Magic School and School AI. Like Jeremy said, if there's things that from this video or other videos, please put them in the comments. We've been trying to check those more frequently, and we've noticed that we do have some engagement there, and so that's great. We encourage everybody to continue to do that, and we can hopefully use those as ways for upcoming videos of things that people would like to see. So that's really great. And as we move into next week, our part 2, we'll actually do updates on 2 more tools that we've covered in the past with AI. Jeremy is going to be covering Diffit for us. And then I'm going to be covering Brisk Teaching AI, that extension, and some of the things that they're doing there with boosting student activity. So there'll be 2 things to look forward to there. If you're either familiar with those tools or one of them, or maybe you're not at all. But either way, we'll be able to showcase those a bit more, and that'll be up next week. So thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time.